To kick off with, Johnny, how was the day for you?
Quite busy actually today, Chris. Thanks. Obviously quite a lot of results out today, Mondi, and then obviously the two sort of big financial companies, Nedbank and Mutual. Nedbank ended a lot weaker, I think, today, maybe perhaps on the back of just a weaker outlook. They're now talking earnings down anywhere between 18 and 38, so if we take that as a midpoint, down about 28%. I think their previous guidance was down about 20. So the first half results, I would say broadly in line with expectations, but perhaps the guidance slightly worse than they were previously alluding to.
They say bad debts falling for Nedbank. Is that a bit of comfort, you think, to the company investors?
Yes, and I guess with Nedbank, we actually have sort of hard evidence of that. A lot of the other banks are anecdotally talking about retail bad debts turning. Given Nedbank's owned by Old Mutual, they did come out with the first quarter trading update, and then there they were talking about a bad debt ratio for the group of 1.67, and now it's 1.57. So that's sort of tangible evidence that at least on the retail side, things are beginning to turn. The question will be how bad sort of corporate bad debts will be going into 2010.
And Old Mutual?
Old Mutual, yeah, I guess they've come a long way from sort of 6 months ago when there were quite a lot of questions at the presentations on how are they going to rebuild solvency, their capital, and how they're going to avoid some kind of a rights issue. But I guess they've been saved by sort of quite a big narrowing in credit spreads. At one point earlier this year, the sort of unrealized losses on their US bond portfolio were about $2.8 billion. That's halved to about $1.4 billion. And has driven quite a big increase in their embedded value per share from about 120p at the end of December to about 143p at the end of June. That's probably 18 Rand 50, 19 Rand. So there's been quite a big re-rating on the embedded value. Underlying earnings still weak though, given where sort of average asset levels have been for the first half of this year compared to the first half of last year. But I think a reasonable estimate for Mutual that I've seen is probably about 11p for the full year on adjusted operating EPS. And they came in at about 5.4 for the full year. So earnings still weak, but they might still get to 11p for the full year.
Looking at the overall market now, who are your top performers of the day?
Top performers today, sort of Anglos was very strong, Anglo Platts and Liberty International, followed by Mutual. Mutual was about 4th or 5th from the top. So seeing quite a lot of, I guess, demand for some of the sort of resource companies. All the sort of clash for clunkers is perhaps giving the platinum stocks some hope on the platinum price as well. And then, yeah, bringing up the rear was sort of Nedbank, Afrox, which came out with a negative trading update day before yesterday. So that was probably where sort of the market ended.
And how do you think we're looking for the rest of the week?
It's very interesting to see. I mean, tomorrow we've still got a couple of results still coming out. Liberty Holdings, sort of Old Mutual's peer. I think they'll have pretty disappointing result, but probably not enough to move the market. I think the markets have had a sort of reasonably good trot, so we'll probably go flat to a bit weak, I would think, for the rest of the week. Perhaps a bit of profit taking after what's been quite a strong July, both in South Africa and globally.
And also, I mean, the results looking to next week. There's some big names coming up.
That's true. We would have sort of Standard Bank coming out next week. They've already given the market some guidance on their results, so hopefully the sort of bottom line number won't be too much of a surprise. But I think, as I said last week, a big issue and will be for the analysts once they have a sort of a second look through the results is really sort of what are the quality of some of the earnings of some of these companies. So, you know, how are they getting to those bottom line numbers? Are they meeting the revenue targets, or is it coming through cost cutting, for example? APSA sort of, you know, very sort of credible result, but quite a lot of costs taken out of the business, and presumably that's not sustainable if the downturn sort of lasts for a lot longer than people expect.